really happens in this world and what the US mainstream media reports on are two completely different things, and that is more exemplified than ever with the current situation inside of Aleppo, Syria. Yesterday, we reported to you how the Russians said that all military action in eastern Aleppo have stopped and on how there was a truce agreement allowing the rebels and civilians to actually leave that city. Ever since then, the situation has dramatically changed, and the mainstream media is in full disinformation, emotional propaganda, hysteria mode, promoting the alleged murder of 82 civilians by Syrian government forces. All the mainstream media organizations are quoting a supposed UN report, and the UN official who presented this report even said himself that he can't say who killed these civilians. But we understand that, quote, there was one Iraqi militia involved, quote. Now, the United Nations doesn't have anyone on the ground. They haven't confirmed this, and they have heard this, which is essentially rumors from biased sources on the ground connected to the rebels who obviously have an agenda in order to let the world intervene. And now social justice warrior, liberal triggered virtual signaling putzes all over social media are promoting that the Syrian government killed 82 civilians. I'm not saying it happened or it didn't happen, but this is an unconfirmed report which many people are calling out as fake news. Now, as this is happening, the mainstream media in the West is ignoring the fact that rebel groups are shooting at civilians as well, and that rebel groups have also kidnapped civilians and are holding them as ransom inside of the city of Aleppo. You won't hear that side of the story, or even how people inside of Aleppo, some of them are happy that the Syrian government is actually coming in and getting rid of these rebels and radical Islamic terrorists. You don't hear that side of the story, but that's why we're here sharing it. And to make the matter worse, we have the U.S. ambassador going on the world stage at the UN saying,
incapable of shame? Is there literally nothing that can shame you? Is there no act of barbarism against civilians, no execution of a child that gets under your skin, that just creeps you out a little bit? Is there nothing you will not lie about or justify?
I hope she was talking to herself, but she wasn't, and this person needs psychological help because she is mentally challenged to say this, especially with the historical records of U.S. foreign policy inside of the Middle East and regime change when it came to Libya, when it came to the bombing of Iraq, when it came to the bombing of Afghanistan. But let's just talk about the latest crime that is still happening right now, and that's the U.S. and Saudi Arabian involvement together bombing the country of Yemen, bombing funerals, bombing weddings, bombing civilians indiscriminately with U.S. barrel bombs that Saudi Arabia is using illegally, that were sold to Saudi Arabia when it was found out that Saudi Arabia was financing ISIS by Hillary Clinton. The horrendous war crimes that you will never hear about inside of Yemen are very similar to what's happening inside of Aleppo. But there's a reason everyone's talking about Aleppo right now, and that's because the United States has a bigger geopolitical goal, and it's been a big goal for a number of years now. Ever since the supposed civil war inside of Syria started, the United States has been training, arming, funding, teaching the radical Islamic terrorists and rebels inside of that country, including ISIS. Like this story shows you how the CIA trained ISIS and how the ISIS was easily able to infiltrate U.S. bases, mainly because they were working together and kill 3 American soldiers. The CIA was training ISIS since the very beginning. There have been ties with radical Islamic terrorists. They knew Saudi Arabia was doing it openly and allowed it to happen because their major goal was to get rid of Bashar al-Assad, who wouldn't play along with U.S. foreign policy, who wouldn't play along with the U.S. petrodollar, wouldn't hype it up, and wouldn't allow pipelines to run through his country to bypass Russia with other geopolitical goals that were a lot grander here than supposed human rights that the United States cares about, which is utter hypocrisy, bullcrap that needs to be called out. The United States right now has the same position as the Taliban, who has expressed sympathy for the Muslims inside of Aleppo, saying that these are horrible human rights violations. I mean, of course, if there's anyone who knows about human rights violations, it's the freaking Taliban. They're the ones who should be telling us what's really bad with human rights violations and who's actually doing it, right? The United States has the same position as the Taliban in this situation. Just get that through your head. Let that sink in for a second. The fake news continues as we are seeing fake photos from music videos being promoted all over social media as actual scenes inside of Aleppo. Lebanese journalists are taking pictures from Pakistan and are saying it's inside of Aleppo. BuzzFeed is promoting a supposed Al-Qaeda publicist, a man who calls himself a journalist inside of Aleppo, but really has called for more Saudi Arabian involvement, more radical Islamic fighters to come fight inside of that country, and has been a proponent of the rebel groups. And BuzzFeed was the one promoting him as, what is wrong with you? U.S. mainstream media is utter fake news. They have lost their mind. This is total disinformation that they're trying to throw at you in order to emotionally manipulate you, because the United States has just lost its bigger geopolitical goal that they don't want to let go of. Yes, there's war crimes committed on both sides, by the Syrian government and by the rebels and by radical Islamic terrorists. There's no hiding that fact at all. This is what happens when you have war. But you cannot solve a problem unless you actually find out the true source that it's coming from, and if you actually get both sides of the story. And that's why we are here as real independent media. The situation's so bad that a congresswoman just proposed a bill in the United States to stop the United States from arming ISIS. This is what's happening. It's an actual fact. Share this video because the American public does not understand this, and they need to, in order for all of us to get rid of this huge problem that we're all facing. Whether we like it or not, the current situation in the Middle East will affect us sooner or later. It already is. Time to deal with it, time to fix it, time to find out the truth about it and not be emotionally manipulated by the disinformation, real fake news, mainstream media prostitutes. Support us on patreon.com/WeAreChange, because we can only do our job because it is financed only by you. We are not beholden to anyone but you, and that's why we're able to get these types of information out there to you, unlike anybody else. Thank you again so much for watching. Subscribe. You can't even subscribe anymore. Subscribers don't matter because of the new YouTube algorithm. Click that bell button, even if you are subscribed, if you ever want to see any of our stuff, and I definitely recommend tuning in. We're going to have a lot more coverage nonstop coming here your way on youtube.com/WeAreChange.